first off, what is it? You know, we've been sending out emails and tweeting and Facebooking about what we're going to be releasing next week for about 6 or 8 weeks. And the net of it is it's pretty straightforward. We have a new and improved user interface that I'm going to show you a little bit shortly. And along the way, as we adjusted this new or created this new look, we added some exciting new features. And you know, how did we do it, or why did we do it? Again, pretty straightforward. For the last 2.5 years, we've had essentially the same design to the web interface for our digital signage product. The product's evolved substantially over that time by adding new features and functionality almost every month, and at least every quarter along the way we've done that. And as it's grown and evolved, we probably haven't done as much as we should with the actual interface. So over the last 3 to 4 months, we interviewed a number of end users, and those end users represented large clients. They represented single location clients. We spoke with them extensively about how they use the product. We watched them use the product, and then we asked where they wanted to see some improvements as well. And the result of those interviews is what I'm about to show you right now. So we've got a new look, and what you see in front of you now is what the new design is going to look like. Some of this text on this page, for example, is going to change a little bit, and the branding hasn't been placed on this yet. But the look and feel is going to be what I'm going to show you now. So we're leaving the black background with the bright colors that can be kind of harsh on your eyes if you're in there working on it for a while. And we're migrating to really a cleaner look. Along the way, what we've done is tried to make it more intuitive. You know, some of the feedback we got was it was difficult to find certain things. In several instances, we've made this fewer, or we've reduced the number of clicks to get through a process. So while the workflow really hasn't changed, what we've tried to do is make this just a little more easier all the way around. So for existing clients transitioning, it should be a very easy transition, especially after seeing what I'm going to show you today. Again, fewer clicks. We took things that were 5 or 6 click-throughs or 2 or 3 screens and combined them into single screens or just a couple screens. Really tried to make the whole experience better, improve some of the load times on some of the screens that were a little slower, and that type of thing. So I do want to point out, starting with this screen, some of the navigational changes. And you'll notice already here that the menus look different. When you first log in, this is the screen you will see. It's the welcome screen, and it will have it'll say welcome with your name on it when you log in. If you ever want to come back to this screen, you can just click on that little house, and you'll come back here, and we're going to put important messages about the product, give you some tips on how to do certain things, and these will be updated regularly as a way to help educate people on new features and let you know what's coming down the pipe at you as it evolves. So the content menu, you'll notice a couple new terms in here. One of the things that we heard from these interviews that we conducted with clients was there was a lot of confusion between the fact that we had media lockers, catalogs, and content libraries. And they didn't understand what the difference between a catalog, a library, and a locker was. Essentially, they're all containers to store media. And so we abandoned the multiple names for that, and we're just using library across the board. So the media library that you can see highlighted here is a combination of both what is today the catalog and what is today the media lockers. So any content, whether it's video or still imagery, that is included as part of the system and available to all users is in the media library. And I'll show you the media library in a little bit. My media library is anything that you provided, so what would today be in your My Media Locker. And then when you get into the schedule screen a little bit, we're referring to that as a playlist library. So essentially the media library is where things are stored. My Media Library is where the stuff that you uploaded in the system system is stored, and the playlist library is where the things for an individual, or the spots for an individual location or group are stored. And not much else has changed in this menu other than we pulled out upload, and we'll talk about that in a second. So moving on to the next menu. Previously here we had a locations menu, and the locations menu contained the dashboard and the group management. What we did was, as the products evolved, we've ended up with several different management components, and we moved them all under a single tab called management. So the dashboard, which is your visibility to all of your players and your playlists and everything we released it earlier this year, I want to say it was February, is under the management tab. The group management is still there, the same place it was previously, again, labeled locations. And then we moved reports and settings under here. And what we've done is there were several different settings screens for Twitter settings and user settings, a couple other things. We combined them all into one screen, and you'll see that later as well. So the management tab's new here. And you also notice that the tabs are in alphabetical order. One of the things that we found as we engaged a firm that specifically does design work for web applications and other applications is some feedback on the way people instinctively, whether they recognize it or not, order things. And we tend to do things, to look at things in alphabetical order, or most people do. So we move these items and a couple other things you'll notice within the menus. They're in alphabetical order, and the menus themselves are in alphabetical order. The schedule menu, there's really no options under it. It's the same as it is today. The schedule screen I'll show you in a little bit. So the next menu that we've got is the support menu. And the one thing that we found people go to here the most is the user guide. Well, we previously had the user guide somewhat buried because you had to go into the resources option and then locate the user guide among any of the other documentation or videos that were in there and open it up. So we've added the user guide directly under the support menu, and I'm happy to say that later on this year, the user guide is going to migrate to be all web-based instead of being a PDF, and it'll be searchable and all indexed. So you can look up a term and find all the different places in the user guide that is. But right now it's still a PDF, but we pulled it out as its own item. The contact us will give you information for your dealer. Feedback's a way for you to provide information back to your dealer or to us. And then resources has been renamed tutorials and videos. And then finally on the navigation front on this screen, or really on all screens, you'll see that the upload was broken out of the content menu. Essentially, people don't look at upload as part of a content task, and it's not something that frequently is used. So by going alphabetical and moving it to the end, it's kind of out of the way of the other things. And just like previously, there's a single file and a multiple file. We again changed some terminology, but not a lot has changed with the workflow on that. And I'll show you some of the new upload screens momentarily. So here we go. Since we're just talking about upload, we're going to hop into this. One of the things I'm really excited about is we've made uploading much more efficient. Previously, if you uploaded something and then wanted to go and schedule it, you had to go from upload. When it was done, you got really just a black screen that says your file's been uploaded, and then you had to figure out where to go next. So now we're putting prompts that allow you to kind of click through, and they logically point you in directions that you would most likely go. You can always click the X in the upper right and close the window, but when you're all done, you click Save File here, you'll be prompted, do you want to go to your playlist library to schedule this, or do you want to go to upload another file? We've also added in here the ability to add the content directly to a playlist library, again, previously a content library. What this means is today with videos, you have to upload the video and it gets queued because, as you may recall, that video gets processed. We create a thumbnail image and then we create a low-resolution image to play from the website of whatever video that you upload. And that may take 10 minutes or half an hour to do, and it requires you to generally log out and come back later and continue what you're doing. Now, what happens is at the end of this upload process, you can select the location and select the screen zone where you want that video or image to go. it will automatically be added to that playlist library. The thumbnail hasn't been generated because unless it's an image, the video has not been processed yet, but there'll be a placeholder there that indicates whether that file is queued for processing or it's actually processing right now, and you can take that placeholder and go ahead and schedule it. So you can, from the upload process, go all the way through, schedule the media, not have to come back later. And what will automatically happen is if you update the schedule, save it, or save that playlist, as soon as that video is done processing, it will automatically be available for the media player to download. So that should save a lot of time, and that was one of the big complaints that we heard time and time again when we were interviewing end users, is they didn't like the fact that they had to upload videos and then come back later. So we're real excited about that one. Next thing I want to show you is in the template section. When you go to create a new spot, you may recall that today what you have to do is you select a location on one screen, then you have to wait for the screen to load the different zones, and then you have to go to another screen, select the template, and then you move on. What we've done is that first half of that process, getting through selecting the template, we've put all on a single screen. And we've also added the search capability here. So there's going to be fewer clicks, and there's more logic that are going to help you find the right template. Right now, we've got nearly 800 templates in the system. And what we find is actually only a small percentage of them are used, and part of that's attributed to the fact that people just can't find things in here. So what you'll see is underneath the search box, there's a bunch of categories. So you can click things and only get the templates that meet those categories. You can also type key terms in here, so that may be part of the name of the template, part of the description of the template, or a tag. You could say, just show me templates that support images. And if you type the word image, only the templates that support images will show up. You could say, I just want to see holiday. Type the word holiday, it'll show up. You could type Halloween, and just Halloween ones would show up. So we're excited about that way for you to really filter through and find things a lot easier, and again, all on a single screen, reducing the number of clicks that we've got. The next thing that we do is once you've selected your template, on the left side in that margin there, you still see that the location and the zone are still available, so you can always go back and edit those and change the template or change the zone from the same screen, and just that right part of the screen will load. Then the part that we're really excited about here is you'll notice that it looks pretty much the same as the current template creation page, but there's one change. Underneath the OK and Close buttons there, you'll see the Preview button. And one of the things we found, again, in working with clients is they would go in, enter text, hit OK, look over to the right and see what it looked like, and then say, no, my font's too big, it's the wrong color, I need to add an extra line or whatever it might be. And they had to open up the text box and re-edit it again. Now you can type whatever you want here, hit Preview, it automatically renders it over on the right side, and you can edit it without having to close and open that window as you're doing it. So I think that Preview option is going to be very helpful for all of you out there that are using templates. When you're done creating the template, today you get a screen kind of like this that shows you a larger image or larger version of the template. What we've done here is we've given you the ability to add that template to multiple locations. Right now, when you create a template, you select the location or the group you're creating it for, you create that template, and then if you wanted to add it to another location too, you have to go into that playlist library or content library in today's terms, and you have to copy it over or export it and import it. You've got two options. What we've done to make this more efficient now is giving you the ability to add it to multiple locations here. So while you're still initially selecting one location or one group to create this from, when you're about ready to save it, you can go through and check additional locations, hit save, and they'll be added there. The preview screen. Now, there's lots of places within the application that you can preview images and videos today. Pretty much everywhere, in your My Media Locker, in the Media Locker, in the catalog, in your playlist. pretty much everywhere we have a preview screen. And today it opens up just as a preview and then has a bunch of other options to do from that screen. What we've tried to do here is make this a lot more, again, efficient. Fewer clicks, easier for everybody to manage. So the edit capability is built into the preview screen. If you upload an image that has a transparent background, generally speaking, that would be a PNG file, it'll show with the checkerboard background automatically. Today that doesn't happen, so this indicates that this pickup truck has a transparent background from it. We've added the previous and next buttons at the top, which allow you to go forward and back through, whether, again, that's your media library or your playlist library, wherever you are. You don't have to close one preview and then go open another one. You can just scan through them today. At the bottom right, you'll notice a few buttons. We've got the copy to libraries, add to template, cancel and delete. Depending on where you're previewing from, different buttons will be available here. And what these are basically all of the logical things you could do, in this case with the image, but with a video, with whatever it might be. And we've colorized them to kind of catch your eye and force you towards certain things. You know, red's bad. The darker ones are going to catch your eye, that type of thing. So we've done some things to make this navigate a little more instinctively. And then the last thing I want to point out here, and we're going to talk about a little more on the next slide too, is tags. Tags are an entirely new concept for us here, and I think you're going to really be excited about these, especially clients that have lots of locations or lots of assets. By adding tags, and you'll see here, we just typed in pickup, comma, this, and you just separate them with commas. By adding tags to an asset, you can then search for it later. So I could go into my media library and type Toyota, and any items that were tagged with Toyota would come up, including this Tacoma pickup truck. I could go in and you know, tag anything, and it gives you the ability to search for it. Well, not only does it allow you to search for it, but I'm going to go to this next screen. We can schedule based on tags. So what you're going to be able to do here is say that any location, that in your schedule screen, which you kind of see grayed out in the background, and we're going to come back to that a little bit later. I'll point out some of the changes there. You'll notice in the schedule in the middle here, you've got a placeholder item. That tag placeholder can now be dragged and dropped into your schedule. Then you have the opportunity to name it, and any of the tags that you've got available that you created are now shown. And in this case, I checked Toyota. So when this playlist plays, it's going to always play a Toyota spot in that position in the playlist. What that does is it prevents you from having to continue to keep updating your playlist. You can just change out new items by adding tags to them. And they'll automatically be put into your playlist as they're available. So I think especially some of our larger accounts are going to like that functionality. And there's a lot more detail in the new version of the user guide that will be available. We're actually going to make that available probably tomorrow if people want to look through it. So you'll be able to get a lot more detail on how to use these tags and the tag placeholders. Next thing I want to show you is the media library. In this case, it's my media library. In today's terms, it will be my media locker. I've done one thing here. Up in the top, kind of middle, you'll see a blue link that says Manage My Media Library. For this screenshot, I actually clicked on that and opened it up. And so there's a couple more things that are showing here. So when you go into your media library, I mentioned earlier, just like the templates, you can search. So again, if I searched for Toyota, anything that was tagged Toyota or had Toyota in the name or had Toyota in the description would show up. You can filter things here by images, by videos, by tags, and then again, obviously, you've got the searching capability. So that's a new change. When you click on Manage My Media Library, two things happen. There's that horizontal black line across the screen above filters and results that goes along. And on the right side of that, you see copy to playlist library, tag, and delete and close. If you click close, it's going to hide that row as well as the select and and delete options on each item. One of the complaints that we had, or one of the requests we had for new enhancements, was the ability to perform a task with multiple spots simultaneously. In today's system, if you want to delete 10 spots, you've got to go through one at a time and say delete, 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 delete. If you want to add a bunch to a playlist, you have to do that one at a time. So by turning on my media, or manage my media library, and then going through and clicking the check boxes, or selecting the check boxes for each item, and then clicking copy to playlist library, I can add multiple items simultaneously to a playlist library. Or clicking on delete, I can delete multiple. Or if you wanted to go into your existing library, because everything that's there today is still going to be there, you're not going to lose anything, and you wanted to go back in and tag a whole bunch of items for your Midwest stores or your restaurants that offer a certain, Coca-Cola restaurants versus Pepsi-Cola restaurants or something like that, you could go through and tag spots this way. You'll also be able to tag locations in the locations tab. So we're excited about that. I think that's going to make a big difference for people that have lots of locations and lots of assets. Now, I said a moment ago we'd come back to the schedule screen, and here we are. The schedule screen has not changed tremendously. We've done a few subtle things that really should make this easier to work with. The first, most obvious thing to a lot of people, I think, is you'll see that in the middle of the screen is the vertical column instead of on the right side of the screen. We've moved the playlist from the right side to the center of the screen. And the reason for that is when we watched all these users during our interviews use the system, what we found was they went to that player column, clicked on groups or clicked on locations, clicked on a zone, and then moved their mouse all the way over to the right side of the screen and started working on the playlist to do scheduling or what have you. Then they went back and forth to each location, and they would spend a lot of time going back and forth across the screen. So we moved those things next to each other so there's less mouse movement. It's a little easier to find things. We also made the items in the playlist, it doesn't stick out as much here as it will with a lot of existing other things, but you'll notice that the items in the playlist are about 25 or 30% bigger than the ones in the playlist library. And that, again, is really there just to catch your eye, draw your eye there, and allow you to kind of focus on that portion of the screen. The playlist items are also numbered. And what we found is with people that use very large playlists, they had a hard time sometimes trying to figure out what the 35th item in the playlist was. So this way, they're all numbered, and as you update everything, it's going to adjust your sequence and renumber that so you can find things much more efficiently. The other changes you'll see is over on the right side, we still have Save, Copy, Clear, and the linear or dynamic toggle buttons, as well as being able to switch between the list view and the thumbnail view. But what we've done is we've changed all those icons to terms. And what we found was by using words, everybody knew what they were. When they were icons, sometimes they were difficult to discern what exactly you were trying to click on. So hopefully that'll make it easier, especially for new users or if you're helping get somebody up to speed on the system. Other than that, not a lot has changed here. It's still drag and drop. You can still sort and filter. You still have your page options. Pretty much the same type of thing here. You still have the right-click options for previewing and editing, deleting, removing, all that type of stuff as well. So what else have we got? I showed you most of the basics. I want to talk about a couple more things. Shared media library. One of the things, again, we found is we have clients with multiple users logging in. And if user A uploaded a video or uploaded an image, and then user B came in later, user B couldn't see the My Media Locker of the other person. So unless that spot was in the playlist or in the content library, it could not be found. So what we've done here is made the ability, and it's an option under settings, in the user settings, the account settings, that allows you to say, yes, I want to share my media library with somebody else. And what will happen is when you select yes, you want to do that, it will give you a list of any other users that you share access to the same locations. And when you do that, you just select that user, and the next time that user logs in, they will be able to see everything in your media library, and they can do the same thing with you. So, so we think that's going to be helpful for accounts where we've got multiple people trying to manage the same thing. In templates, again, you can search by names and search by tags, search by template descriptions, that type of thing, which is new, and we're excited that's going to be a much better way to find templates. We've simplified the user settings. When you go into user settings today, it can be kind of confusing. We tried to add some more descriptive terms and simplify the whole user interface. We put them all in a single location instead of 2 or 3 locations. They're all in one place, so that'll be a better experience. And then we've completely rewritten the user guide. As you can imagine, when we went through this to create these, to add all these changes, it really touched a lot of the user guide. You know, we moved things around, we changed terminology, we combined screens. There's really quite a bit different. So rather than just trying to update the existing user guide, what we've done here is we started from ground zero and rewrote the entire user guide. And what I think you'll find is it's a lot easier to use. So if you need help with something, you know, obviously you can always call your dealer and ask them, but you can open up that user guide from the support menu, and it's much better laid out. I think it's written much more clearly, and it'll be a lot easier to help walk you through how to do things. So I encourage you to check that out once that's released. So what else do you need to know? A couple more things. First thing, this is getting released on Monday night. So Memorial Day here in the States, so maybe some people outside of the U.S. are on the call now, I'm not sure. But Memorial Day evening, this coming Monday night, this is going to be released. It'll be happening beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So at 11 o'clock Eastern, the system will be offline momentarily. It should not take more than an hour. It should actually take less than that, and then you'll be able to log in. So most of you probably won't be trying to log in Monday night anyway. And when you check this out on Tuesday morning, you'll see these changes. The last thing is, I know there's some people here that probably weren't, joined this call late or joined this webinar late, or they want somebody else to see this that works with them. This webinar is being recorded right now, and by tomorrow morning, we will have this available online. You'll be able to go log into the system, go to the support menu, and select resources, and the video of this will be available in the resources section. So if I went through something too quickly and or somebody caught your attention and spoke with you over something you wanted to hear, or if you need to share this with somebody else, go tomorrow or late tonight to the support menu, click on resources, and that'll be there. Again, we'll change that menu starting Monday night, so if you decide you want to come back and see this after on Tuesday, you'll want to go to the support menu, and it'll be under tutorials and videos. So that is basically it. There is an option for you on your screen on the right side that allows you to ask questions. And you can type in a question just like you would a chat or a text message type of interface. And you can enter a question, and we will try to field those right now and get your answers. So that is it. If you've got any questions, please go ahead and enter them. Somebody out there has got a question. Okay, I'll give it about 10 or 15 more seconds, and if we don't get any, oh, I got one. Okay. Jen says, I do. Oh, we got a couple. Okay. Any progress on web page integration? Good question. What this question is regarding is we've had a couple end users ask us about being able to actually enter a URL for another web page and have that web page load up on the screen and present on the screen. That is actually in the works to be available later this year. There's some technical things we need to do on the player. Most of them actually surround network security because, as some of you can imagine, the IT departments at some of our clients get very concerned about what type of data comes into their networks. And we've got to do some things that will allow us to control that data or allow people to turn that off so it can't be utilized and they won't be navigating out to a website that might have a virus or something on it. But yes, that will be coming later this year. Next question, will all of our videos and pictures still be there after the change? Yes, they will. You're not going to lose any of your existing spots. You will not lose anything that was in your media locker or is in your media locker today or that you add between now and then. You will not, any of your locations, any of your schedules, nothing is going to change. We're simply updating the interface here and giving you some more capability and hopefully making this a lot easier to use. Somebody asked about a template. What's a template? When you go to create spot or create a spot under the content menu, the templates are the portion of the system that allow you to create new spots or new media. Go to the next question here. Questions are will we be adding any more templates? Yes, we will. We're actually looking at redesigning some of the way templates work to be released later this year, probably not until Q3 or so. But the net of it is what we want to be able to do is add the functionality that you've got in some of the templates into all the templates. So the ability to change fonts, change font colors, background colors, all that type of thing. We want to add that so it's across the board available in every template, as well as adding some new types of templates. When we do that, we actually may consolidate some templates so they'll be easier to search and find. So are there any new templates coming with this upgrade? Off the top of my head, no, we do not have any new ones coming. I know there's a few. We tend to release anywhere from a couple to half a dozen every month right now. So there are some in queue that will probably be released sometime in June, but nothing new is coming as part of this. Okay. Somebody's asking here if there needs to be any updates to that you have to do. Do you have to do anything to your player? Does it require a firmware update or anything like that? No, there's nothing that you have to do with respect to that. The player code does not change, and when it does, we automatically make that available, and the players will automatically process it. Okay, somebody's asking about uploading videos, and then some of these questions I would encourage you, because I'm going to touch on them real quick, I would encourage you to reach out to your dealer to discuss them in a little more depth. But you can upload pretty much any standard video type. We recommend H.264 or MPEG video, but you can upload MOVs or WMVs. The only real video format that we try to avoid is, or that we must avoid, is SWF flash files. FLV flash can work fine. You can't just upload a URL. You can't just take a URL from a website or the address of a website and try to upload that. If you do, or if you do take a video from a website, you'd have to save that locally and then upload it in the system. And of course, you need to make sure that you've got permission to do that. Okay. More font options. Somebody's asking if there'll be more fonts. No changes with this today, but as we continue to add new templates, we're adding font capabilities to those. And once we are able to add font controls to all the templates, I expect that we will give you some more font options. One thing I will say to do, and I will encourage people to do, is if you have PowerPoint, you can create videos or static imagery in PowerPoint. Use all of the fonts that are available on your computer, whether that's a Mac or a PC, and then you can save PowerPoint files as WMV files if you do save as in the current versions of PowerPoint for both the PC and Mac. Allow you to save the PowerPoint presentation as WMV and upload that, so that may be something that you can do to aid with adding more, or with the ability to do more fonts. Okay. Pam, I'm going to follow up with you on your question. Okay, somebody's asking, can YouTube videos be saved such as safety clips or similar communications? There are tools out there that will allow you to download videos from YouTube, and once those are downloaded, you can upload them to our system. You'd have to use a third-party tool to download that video, generally speaking. And again, I just want to make sure that people are responsible about what they're uploading in the system, and they've got the rights to use that for this application. But technically, yes, there are tools. If you are online and you do a search for download YouTube videos, I'm sure you can find lots of tools that will allow you to do that. Margin options. I think the question here is about adding margins for where the pictures get placed or where text gets placed. Today, there's no changes. That would still be in the template. What, again, we do expect to have released as part of these template upgrades later this year is we want the ability to essentially give you a blank canvas and have you be able to put text boxes in certain places and image boxes in others and video boxes in others and build your own screen just like you would a PowerPoint presentation. But that is not there yet today, and we hope to get that in later on this year. Okay, hang on, I'm reading a long question now. Okay, Melissa, I'm going to have somebody follow up with you on your question as well. Somebody's asked, is the video upload limit still set at 250 meg? Actually, no, it's not. What we do suggest, though, is if you're the single file uploader says to use the multiple file uploader if you're uploading large images or large videos or large files, really. There is, there's a theoretical limit. I have personally uploaded 2-hour-long videos to test the system and make sure it works. I don't recommend everybody out there going and uploading a movie tonight because it'll just take a while and use a lot of bandwidth for you. But there's a theoretical limit to how large the files are. But if you need to upload a gigabyte video, God bless you, go ahead and do it. We've tested it and it should work fine. Where we do sometimes see issues with very large files is the bandwidth. If a large file during a file transfer is more likely to be corrupted or have an issue because of a communication problem along the way. So definitely when you're using larger files, use the multiple file uploader, even if you're uploading only a single file. The way that works, it'll allow a file to stop and restart, whereas the single file uploader does not. So I certainly encourage you to do that. And then the last question I've got is, will we be able to accept any additional picture formats? I'm not sure what file format you're looking for. If you want to go to the support menu and the feedback option, certainly let us know what file types you're trying to upload, and we can consider that and see what we need to do to accommodate. Right now we support JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, something else. I don't remember if it's BMP or what it is, but I think there's a fourth one. Which are all the most common picture or image formats. So if there's something else you're looking for, by all means suggest it, and we'll tell you if we can or can't do it. And if we can do it, try to tell you when. So, and the feedback option under the support tab is a good option for that. So are there any other questions? Okay, well, I appreciate everybody's time this afternoon or this morning for you on the West Coast. If there's additional questions, by all means, reach out to your dealers. We're really excited about this. I think once you get into it, you'll see that it's really, not a huge leap for you to go from what you're doing today to what we're doing with this. I think you're going to find it's a lot more intuitive, it's a lot easier on the eyes, and it's going to be a lot more efficient for you. And we'll continue to, every month or two, add additional features. And watch that home page or the welcome page when you first log in, because we'll let you know what's coming and where it is in the user guide or what's going on. And I certainly encourage you to continue to be in communication with your dealers, and they can tell you what's being added as well. We constantly update them on what's going on. So thank you all for your time this afternoon, and have a wonderful holiday weekend.